Okay, so the last thing we recorded was right before this last 15-minute candle, so actually it was quite a big deal of a candle. This is something I definitely want to take a look at when we do our review of our trades for the day, because this is exactly what we were talking about. We were within a channel looking for three pushes down, one push, two push, three push down, and the reason I didn't want to take this trade, even though we did have the three pushes down, was because we were in pretty tight trading range, and I didn't feel like this had reversed enough of anything to be really kind of an all-in long here. That being said, that a subsequent candle was a nice strong break to the upside, um, and a break out of this channel here on Ethereum as well. Because of the strength of this channel, I'm a little bit expecting this to fail right now, and possibly put in another leg down before we break above this high. But I'm going to be cautiously watching that, because I do think that it's possible that, maybe we could start going, and we had a nice strong leg up here, still respecting this trend line, and maybe we take another shot up at this high 60, but I just don't feel like, I feel like this is pretty weak. Like, if this is really going to be bullish to take us to a new swing high, then I don't think bulls should have allowed 40 bars to occur. Oh, this is 5 minute. Yeah, I guess let's take a look on a higher time frame. The hourly looks the hourly looks okay. Like, this looks like clearly it's a pullback, and we have this outside up bar, and the outside up bar has triggered here. But this is kind of the same type of trade that we took on the Ethereum earlier, that we had this outside up bar, although it's a little bit of a different context here. This has a lot more time to it for bears to get involved, and this seems to be a lot quicker, and more aggressive. That being said, this is a great little that this happened. Like, a lot of overlap between these three bars here, and almost a barbed wire situation if we close this bar in the same type of doji-esque manner. Then I wouldn't really be expecting necessarily like big sustained pushes like with high confidence. Um, the 4 hour closed nicely though. The 4 hour closed as a as not a bearish signal bar at all. Bears cannot be shorting based on the 4 hour time frame. They're not going to like that, right? There's nothing really here to trigger a short. Still probably long. Like, if you're trading 4 hour, you're probably long from maybe above this bar would have been the entry. Um, and if not, maybe you tried to find some sort of long on this bar here, or maybe you just entered above here. Maybe you tried to enter in here or something like that. Not great signal bars on the 4 hour time frame for longs, but certainly none for shorts, right? The only signal bar that you could have possibly gotten for short was, you can't even say this one, because you do kind of have the two attempts, like the second attempt of bears, but this is such a big bar that came right before it. It's not an outside bar, since it's not outside of this one, but it's outside of this one, right? So this is an inside bar. The inside bar, the short doesn't trigger, and it's such a fat inside bar that you don't really want to, it's not a small bar, you'd prefer a small bar to take a short from. So really no short signals here. Now if we do this, not so great. Maybe we're putting a little something in there, and I'm gonna move this line down here just to signify that there is some resistance, some theoretical resistance up here. But yeah, I think I am, for this 4 hour candle, I am expecting, I wouldn't be surprised to see an inside bar here, just because I don't necessarily know that we want to really get particularly active. Like we said, on these lower time frames with this channel, we're probably after this, probably back into this range, which is our last level of consolidation before this final leg up. I mean, this region has already been disrespected, so kind of probably expecting a second leg down. rather than for this to be the full, like, gosh, I haven't used this in a long time. The Elliott wave stuff. I haven't used the Elliott wave tools on a chart in a long time, but they're a nice, like this. Instead of doing a 1, 2, 1 move down, 2 moves down, you know what? It would be nicer with the lines, in fact. 1 move down, 2 moves down, right? Instead of saying like that, and then we're done, and now we're just going to go up, have like an impulse kind of thing. Maybe it becomes 1 move down, 2 moves down kind of thing. Because when you have these 1-2s that are so strong, and especially when it's really even difficult to determine what is the end of the first wave and the start of the second wave, because there really isn't a single trend line that's been broken. Maybe if we break it down to this, even if we break it down to this 3-minute time frame, it's really hard to define a trend line that has been disrespected. The only trend line that you can really kind of draw are like these little trend lines here, little really micro trend lines that get tested or whatever, and then the trend resumes. But this would be the only trend line to build underneath here. So this is really effectively 1 leg, not 2 legs. So I think possibly expecting a second leg down before we take the highs here. That's for Bitcoin. Ethereum, actually, Ethereum I probably feel even more strongly about, just because, yeah, we're kind of back into this range of that we were in for quite some time, right? 16 hours we were in this range for. Not great. When you're in a range for 16 hours and then you break out above it only to come right back into the range, like, I wouldn't say that that's particularly bullish. Like, we would really want to see, maybe you can say, like, if you want to say that this is a if you want to call this like a retest of the range and then a breakout, then this would have been the trade that we took here at 44.40, and that clearly failed. So I am, and same thing here. This is the first time that the trend line has been disrespected. We do have, in this instance, a much steeper trend lines on the main part of the down move. So it becomes a lot easier to say, yes, this is the end of the A, and then this is like maybe to here kind of thing, or up to here, and then here's your C down to here, and then we have the disrespect here, and then it goes down here. But again, when you have a really strong counter trend move, and especially if you can house it in one channel, I'm going to consider this to be 1 leg, not 2 legs. So it looks it looks kind of decent, especially like kind of the way that we rallied up here. But I'm not sure if it's going to be sustained. It's going to be probably looking now on these lower time frames right now for maybe little moves that can get us into something. Theoretically, we could have taken this trade here. We had this strong rejection, but already made a big push up to the upside. Small bar, and then bears get overwhelmed here. Effectively an outside bar, not quite an outside bar. But then you have this inside bar, so it's kind of like an IOI. It's not quite an IOI, but it's a little bit like an IOI, which means that we could buy above here with a stop below here, and looking for a run back up to this level, possibly a little higher. But like, this is only 0.5%, so probably not going to take this trade unless we were going to be looking for it on a much higher time frame. And like I said, I don't know that I'm looking for this trade on a higher time frame right now. Maybe because this is an outside bar, if we can clear this high again, 62,775, then we would have, decent looking pump kind of thing that maybe we can pump to the highs. But probably not looking to buy this pullback necessarily here. Like, I'm just expecting at some point this trend line is going to get disrespected, and we kind of already had this, like, we had this extreme trend, micro trend, get disrespected here. So this was pretty significant strength by bears, like enough such that I think bulls who have bought and kind of down this lower region, kind of on a Yeah, I think we're going to reverse. Might be looking to take some profit off the table up in this 62.7, 62.6 area, maybe even above this, the closes here. Certainly probably all the way up to here. They're probably going to be taking some profit. Um, Expecting at least a test of the low here. Maybe that's the only second leg we get. The second leg doesn't necessarily have to be. It doesn't necessarily have to be like this. We could do and then go. Certainly a possibility. But I do think we do want to see this trend line get disrespected and see how bulls react and how the bears step in. I think that's it for right now. I think that's all we got to say on this right now. Ethereum. I mean, I could see like this is really strong, right? This Ethereum bounce is really strong, and this is a really nice follow through. This is exactly what I'm talking about, by the way, on here. Like, if we get the candle that Ethereum is printing right now up there, I might be more willing to like take a small position for a shot to new highs, possibly up to 63, mid 63s. But that would be like maybe a 1% ish move. Um, but as far as Ethereum goes, like this is been such a bullish asset, and especially in this area here, which by the way we can still kind of draw like this, that maybe this is just the bounce, the test of the trend line, and then we just go vertical here for a third push up. That would be, we've had one strong push that ended here, another push that kind of normally you don't like. It is a strong push, and it is a strong push back by bears to get it back into this kind of range where we were. But then if we just bounce straight out of it and go up again, then I think we put in like a third high, and then maybe if we have something like this, then we can look for a pullback to the thing. Maybe after getting like a third high that gets put in. Horribly drawn trend channel line, but yeah, like if we have something like this and we go up and test it, breach it, ideally even have a strong sell by bears, and then a test, maybe a double top that doesn't do anything, and then we can drop. So we'll be looking for that. I think overall macro, of course, we're still reasonably bullish, right? Especially after yesterday, crazy candle, and this is the follow through. Like if we can close somewhere above, somewhere in this area, this is quite bullish, Still, of course, strong here, but like it's bullish enough to take us to 65, 66. Maybe not necessarily a new high, but there's definitely a trade to be taken up to, a couple $1,000 that you can get out of here. So if that ends up happening, I would also expect Ethereum to continue climbing, because especially if we keep this as a green trend, green bull trend bar, and if we can close kind of closing above 4,400 even, as close to the high as possible, probably is good look for upward continuation on Ethereum as well. So, all right, see you in an hour, I guess 40 minutes.